I am Chuck Howard, and again, I think every single week I type, these are the Cardiac Cats. They're back, but hey, we don't care. They are now 10-4 and kept pace with the New Orleans Saints, and we knew Aaron Rodgers would come into town and give it all he got, but the Panthers coming up big late, and they hang on, and the postseason looking like it might be wrapped up under our Christmas trees and holiday festivities coming up. Josh Sims is currently in the Panthers locker room. We just heard from Panthers head coach Ron Rivera. We're going to turn that right around, and so we got a complete post-game show for you coming up. So glad you're with us. We got you covered right here. Good Sunday morning, everybody. The Saints come marching into the Panthers' lair here at Bank of America Stadium, and it's bound to be an all-out war because it's an NFC South battle, and crazy things happen when it gets to division time. Happy game day, everybody. I'm Chuck Howard alongside Josh Sims and former Carolina Panther great Frank Garcia this morning, and Frank will be with us in just a few minutes. But we're not alone this morning. Harry Connick Jr. has arrived, and he's already talking Saints smack, Josh.
Yeah, and you got to see the shoes he walked in with.
Well, in the time we have, a lot of folks, we see you or they see us when we roll a soundbite. You're at the podium. A lot of folks don't know Ron Rivera away from the football field. And, I get a lot of questions, folks asking me, hey, Chuck, this, that, or the other thing about Coach Rivera. But did you always want to coach?
Yes. It's funny because, I'm very fortunate growing up. My father took the time to coach.
It's tough for me, even as a viewer, to see a head coach tell a young man his dream might be over. Would that be fair to say that might be the most difficult thing you do?
It was. It really is.
Yeah.
It really, truly is. I mean, because a lot of these guys come in and they're bright-eyed and they're bushy-tailed and they want to make it so bad.
All right, Matt Kenseth never really told us last season at the end of it that he was going to retire. He just figured that he may be forced to due to age, and he couldn't find a ride at the end of last season that fitted him, nor would pay him worth his career record. Well, some say you can never go home again. Don't tell Kenseth that, as he is now heading back to Roush Fenway Racing, where his Cup career began. What keeps you going? Because a lot of folks have said, oh, yeah, Jimmy's won 7 championships, great family, likes to ski, this, that, and the other thing. Why are you still here?
I love to do lots of things, but at the same time, I love to work.
My favorite Corvette is this 1967 big block with the Stinger hoods.
Which one? There's about 15 right here.
Well, this is pretty interesting. This car belonged to the president of Mexico. That was his car.
And what was his name?
I don't remember his name. I've got the title.
Dale Earnhardt will come to the caution flag to win the Daytona 500.
And Earnhardt loses it, goes on the grass, comes back, and Elliott goes inside. And Earnhardt still got the lead. Incredible.
Third-generation star Dale Earnhardt Jr. brings him to the flag. Checkered flag waving. It's over. It's Earnhardt.
It's the quintessential last name in stock car racing. One of the quintessential names in all of sports, for that matter. Dale Earnhardt Sr., the legend. Dale Jr., well, he just happened to be NASCAR's most popular driver for 15 straight years. Now, enter Jeffrey Earnhardt. Not a legend, certainly not popular, but still part of the Earnhardt legacy. When he takes the green flag on Sunday, it'll mark the 40th straight year Earnhardt has participated in the Daytona 500.
It's huge. Probably one of my biggest goals in life is to continue to carry on that Earnhardt legacy that my grandfather built, and he was my superhero. He was the man to me, and I would hate to feel like I ever failed him or failed to carry on the legacy that he created.
Creating is what Jeffrey Earnhardt has had to be real good at. The grandson of Dale Sr., the son of Kerry Earnhardt, and the nephew of Dale Jr. Jeffrey's racing path has not been paved with high-dollar race teams and fanfare.
It's growing up as a kid. I mean, when I first started racing, the last name always brought the pressure. I'd show up at the track when I first started racing on dirt, and the kids I'm racing against are like, "Oh, he's gonna win the race." And I'm like, I wish they came that easy. I wish the last name just gave you the win. But so as a kid growing up, I've learned and had to deal with the pressure, and I feel like I handle it rather well. I'm my own man. I can't control anything other than what I can control myself. And I know that, and I know where I stand as a driver, and I got a lot to learn.
And this season, he'll learn from a former Daytona 500 winner, Derek Cope, who is team manager for startup Starcom Racing. And in a bit of irony, it was Cope who won the 1990 Daytona 500, passing Dale Sr. on the last lap in what is known as the biggest upset in 500 history.
It's quite the story to say Earnhardt's and Copes are working together. Obviously Derek winning the Daytona 500, and that's a dream come true to win that race. And we were discussing it at dinner the other night. The whole how everything played out with him winning that race, and my grandpa coming up to him the next weekend. He just thought he was going to give him all kind of crap about it, and he was actually really, really cool about it.
So Jeffrey Earnhardt has the best opportunity of his burgeoning career with his new race team. Decent funding, and in another bit of irony, engines supplied by his grandfather's legendary car owner, Richard Childress. So maybe, just maybe, the stars have finally lined up for a young man with a superstar lineage.
Just because I got an Earnhardt last name don't mean I'm going to go win the race. It was a lot of hard work and time and dedication that my grandfather put in to become as successful as he was, and I got to do the same if I want to be that successful and keep that Earnhardt name in the winning circle. You look at the history of the Earnhardt name at the Daytona 500 and what it's done, and then now not only does my family have a big part of the Daytona 500, but Derek Cope, he won the Daytona 500 too. So it's just going to be a lot of emotions and a lot of fun, and it's going to be quite the ride, but I can't wait.